So the theory about dojo is have the life you want to have. And in dojo, if you can't get what you're already wanting, okay, something's interfering with it. And so the theory is that if you can self-identify with your primal character, the thing that you think of as I, you can learn new things a lot easier.
Kraye, welcome to my podcast and making yourself present in all of your inhuman non-humanness. So tell
Take
me, like, what uh, Cynthia has done some work with you, and she said Kraye's amazing. Kraye did all this stuff for me, and Kraye set me free at some level. Helped her in your dojo, and
Mhm.
I hear the dojo is an experience, can't be spoken about.
It's smart not to talk about it because there's probably somebody listening who will be deeply offended.
Right,
Um, so that's probably a good reason not to talk about it.
right.
Uh,
And what if we enjoy offending people?
well, I don't. Are you Australian?
I am. I'm born in England, but I lived most of my life in Australia.
How young were you when you got there?
Oh, baby, like 5 years old.
Oh, okay, so fine, fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. What was the question? Sorry.
The question was, no need to apologize. The question was, how would you like to offend people?
I would like to offend people in a way that had them first be like in shock about what just happened. And then since there's no follow through, they're like, wait a minute, he can't possibly mean that, can he? So,
Mm, great. And how do you see that opens people up?
well, again, remember that dojo is not everybody. Okay. It's like, it's like any sort of art thing that you do. The way it opens up people who have successfully sort of gone past the preliminaries is that I often come across as the bad daddy or the bad parental figure or the bad authority figure. And I do something that triggers them. And then I don't follow through. I don't beat them. I don't castigate them. I don't do anything nasty. And so in their reality, they're having an experience of this threat that's supposed to be doing something, and then it's not doing anything. And
Mm,
that usually pulls them out a bit if they're not too terribly reactive about it.
right. And what brought you to start this style of I don't know, what would you call it?
Doja, I don't know.
Dojo.
That
Great.
style of
Yeah.
I got there was a long series of very strange things, and I got to a place in my late 40s where I was doing a bunch of odd jobs, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, why don't you go get a master's in something? Because you're getting kind of old. You can't keep doing what you're doing." And I said, and she says, just find a master's in something you like doing. You like talking to people, go become a counselor. And I went, okay, fine. So I went, did a 2-year program, got my master's, started doing my supervised things. I'm talking to my supervisor, and she says, "Oh, let's go get a drink after we finish this." I said, "Fine." And she's like, "But we can't do it in this town. We have to go to the next town over." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" And she said, I don't want my clients seeing me drinking or getting drunk." And I said, "Okay, I'm done." And so I quit at that point, just dropped the whole thing, and then met my wife. And I decided that we're from such different backgrounds that we needed a common language. So I said, let's go to New Ventures West Coaching School. And she said, the first year she said no. The second year she said yes. And so that's how I got here as a coach. And
Right.
the hardness of it is that I don't want to play with kindergartners. I don't want to play with grade schoolers. I don't anybody that has to be handheld and can't the theory of so the theory about dojo is have the life you want to have. And in dojo, if you can't get what you're already wanting, okay, something's interfering with it. And so the theory is that if you can self-identify with your primal character, the thing that you think of as I, you can learn new things a lot easier. And so that's what it's about.
Great. Thank you for explaining that.
Oh, polite Aussie. This is not going to go well.
Oh yeah, tell me more. So,
Mm.
so in this, I hear that integrity piece with your mentor. I was like, I don't want my clients to see me drinking, and then you were done.
Yep.
So, what did you hear in that that created such a visceral reaction in you that you just knew that you were done?
We can't be human.
Can't be human. Great, great.
We have
Well,
to be all of those normal things that are human built as therapists, as counselors. We can't demonstrate that to our clients because our clients might see us less than as angels, and that would be bad.
fantastic. So, what I hear in this, you're speaking to the lower self. This part of the primal part that will want to kill, murder, rape, pillage, pedophile, all those things.
Yep,
Great, fantastic. Yeah, I really hear the freedom that's available for people.
can be.
Yeah.
Also, prison sentences are right on the other side of that coin.
Well, however you want to serve your time on the planet, right?
Yeah.
So, in that, where do you
Boy,
see?
you're a bit more of a wackadoodle than I thought you were. I thought you were going to be this green meme. Yeah. I have to remember not to confuse people's advertising with who they are.
Yeah, that's a good one. I concur. So, where do
Mhm.
you see most people get stuck in working in your dojo? Because you said that there were levels, right? So, where do people most get stuck?
Most of them get stuck. So the first level is a white belt. The catchphrase for white belt is what is.
Mhm.
So you're trying to figure out and analyze and come to terms with what your primal character is. And in dojo, there's this thing called public face. And this is the thing that you crafted to put out to the general public, more or less. Then there's this thing called the private face. And these are the things that you're conscious of, but you think that if you get caught doing them or looking at them or whatever, that you're going to get in trouble. So those things you hide. Now, this isn't blanket in general. There are different populations that you show different things to. And so a lot of people come in the dojo and there's no real bad thing for having anything in your dark side. Nothing. And so there's a lot of juice in that. There's a lot of like fighting back against mom or doing the things you never could, or there's a lot of psychic juice in that. And so people the first people who drop off are the people who get caught up in the juice and they just want to keep juicing for the rest of their life. Yeah.
Right.
That's the first wave of people that drop off. The second wave of people drop off because the deeper hidden stuff doesn't allow them to create or access what they want to be different. So once you get past I want $1 million, or I want to have sex with an eight, or I want to be able to cry or whatever, then they plateau out, and there's no sort of like taking on something new. That's generally where they burn out, and I think a lot of them burn out because they don't, or a lot of them leave because it's a lot of work. It is a lot of slogging. It's like going to the gym and you have to do this 10,000 times, or you have to make 10,000 prostrations or whatever it is. So there's a breaking bit of it which gives you a certain amount of freedom, but to really establish new patterns is quite a lot of work. And so most people don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah, they want the quick fix. They take a
Yep.
pill, do the thing, but not actually ground it into their body to, no, you need to do this thousands of times in order to know that you've got
Yep.
to build the muscle memory to be really free, to be yourself.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Cool. Great. 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 So, how do you find your clients, or how do the clients find you?
I, word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Right.
Word of
Right.
mouth, some of the Facebook stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
don't advertise. I don't care.
So, what got you to this point? Like, I hear the piece around you want to become a counselor and you've met your wife. Why do what you do now?
Because I grew up overseas in my father was a diplomat. I grew up from like three on up in foreign countries. And so I was never in a monoculture. I was always like, there was always like, okay, what is this situation here? What is this situation here? In a monoculture, this is the situation. This is what it means. La, 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 la. And so I didn't understand what it was to be human.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to find out what it was to be human. What is the thing that makes us different than everything else? And so I came up with some hypotheses, and I've always been interested in taking new steps. In doing this work, people bring things to me, orientations, ways of doing things that I never could come up with on my own. So I am slowly, I think I've got a pretty good grasp on the physics of being human. The particulars, meh.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's really, really fun being with somebody who's actually owning what they have and taking new territory. The rest of the time, it's pretty much a slog.
Right. Right. So what I hear in your past, they're traveling a lot and
Mhm.
not being conditioned into one way of being, whether it's American, English, South African, whatever. You've seen the broad spectrum of humans living human lives.
Mhm.
Um, so in that, your discovery, what makes us human, what keeps people stuck in their conditioned
Habits.
habits, right?
And
Habits.
they believe that, I mean, the fundamental thing is that they believe that this I is somehow sacred, it's holy. It's just, to me, it's just one character out of however many characters you want to play. Now, if you want to keep on believing that your thoughts, your feelings, your meaning making are somehow special because they're grounded in this character that you identify as that's where it gets all messed up, I
Mm,
think.
yeah.
Because if you, yeah, so.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, when you mentioned that the meaning making,
Mhm.
I did Landmark a few years ago, and that was a piece that really landed for me. This like humans being meaning making machines,
Yep.
and it really reset my concept of morality around like, well, what am I giving morality to? Like, what does it even matter? Right.
Mhm.
So whenever I do something, I'm like, I can do whatever the fuck I want, but there's always going to be consequence. But what's morality? If morality is holding me back, or whatever habits or whatever culture that I've adopted as I is holding me back. Like, why not just delete it, put it over there, or feel first of all, feel the feelings or express the frustration of being stuck in that for like 20, 30, 40 odd years. And then
Mhm.
come out the other side of it, like, what the fuck do I want to create?
Mhm.
So habits wise, interesting.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Once you start loosening that thing up about what do I want, then you recognize of one, it's choice all the way down. Unless you're going non-dual, okay, it's choice all the way down. So you have to make a choice from someplace. Now, okay, hang on a second. This is going to get weird. It might get weird.
Dial it
So
up.
in dojo there are 6 belts, okay? There's white belt, yellow belt, red belt. These are all based, the locus of decision making is I, okay? Green, brown, and black, the locuses of making decisions are not I. It's flow, fit, and then glove on the hand of God. So you're using a different locus for deciding what it is, how you make choices. So most people get stuck in these three forever. That's 99.99% of the people on the planet, and they're going to be stuck there. There are some people who are playing around in red belt, which is multiculturalism. And so that gets a bit weird, which is different than a bunch of monocultures stuck in a room together.
Right.
Okay, that's not multiculturalism. So I have no idea why I explained that to you, and here we are.
Yeah, great. Fantastic. So what I hear in that is there's a way of freeing yourself from the container of the I.
Mhm.
And then the other three belts are like, well, I'm actually looking beyond the I and becoming like my own godhead, my own divine being. The hand of glove, I love that analogy. Um, and what does it
Love on the
mean?
hand of God. It's the closest thing that you can get to being non-dual,
Yeah,
but still maintaining the separateness. an
Yes.
I-thou relationship. It's as close as you can get.
Yeah, I
Boy,
love
you're
that.
a lot more dangerous than I thought you were.
Thank you. Flattery will get you everywhere.
Eh,
So I had a conversation just before this one around the concept of God and religion
mm.
and this need for humans to have fear their own power so much that they have to create a God outside themselves to ask for permission to, like, can I do this? Am I allowed this? So in the hand of God metaphor or analogy, where do you see people go when they really embody this?
They
Like,
don't. Nobody does this.
right, right.
I'm still playing with fit, which is the step closer there. I've seen non-dual. I don't like it. Yeah, I like being human. I
Yeah.
like having an eye. So fit is as far as I'm going to go. If the people who come after me want to go after this, that's fine. I've seen non-dual people. I've listened to them. What I think are non-dual people. I don't see I don't see the reason for going there.
Yeah, all right, totally hear that. Um, yeah, I feel there's a I hear this. 'Cause I've spoken to non-dual people too, and it's frustrating. I want to strangle them because I just can't seem to. Who the
Yeah,
fuck are you? Is pretending. I can see you in a human body. Like you're
yeah.
pretending to be someone else. So what are you? What
It's
are you
just that
even
there's no
doing here?
I.
There's no
It's
why.
There's no I, and that's that they still speak, they still shit, they still eat, they still blow their nose, they still get angry, but there's just not an I present. And don't if you do weird hallucinogens or anything, don't use that one. What
Mm.
would it be like not to have an I is a guaranteed bad trip. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I think yeah, iboga. I think it's iboga or iboda is on my plant medicine journey, and I
Oh
want
God.
yeah, it's what I'm aiming for. I love mushrooms. Like I love LSD.
Oh no, no.
But for
Mm.
me, I don't take it for like recreationally. I take it for a purpose. I haven't had mushrooms in ages. I've been really enjoying being a dad and not
Oh
doing that.
jeez. Why do you need anything if you got a baby going into a kid? There's nothing. You don't need anything to alter your reality. You're done.
That's what I'm learning. I'm like,
Uh,
wait a minute. This is the cheapest inner
yep,
work coach I've ever gotten.
yep.
Do you have kids of your own?
I have been a nanny and I have taken care of lots of kids, but none of my own. I dodged that bullet.
Dodge that bullet. That's interesting because I was going to dodge that bullet all through my 30s, my 20s, my 30s, my 40s. I was a sperm donor in my 20s, 30s.
Mm.
But then when I came into this relationship and where I'm at right now, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's throw being a daddy in the mix. Um, so you've been a nanny, you say. Okay.
Yep.
So what have you observed of kids and their habit forming tendencies that make them stuck in that first three belts?
They usually what happens is that parents do one of the big problems is that parents do the you're beautiful, you're smart instead of what you're doing is smart. So you have the kids start to self-identify with that particular thing, which narrows them down quite a bit and makes them very risk aversive. That's the first thing. The second thing is that as a monoculture, people are taught that this is the way things are. Now, you got to remember that up until the age of like 13 or 14, they're aliens, okay? Their brains don't work like ours do. And your job as a parent is to get them so that they can have the other 90 years or 80 or whatever it is, have that be wonderful. You're not there to be their best friend. And so if you can have a good relationship with your kid, that's wonderful, but you're trying to put the fundamental characteristics in that have them have an easier time of being adrift in a sea of monocultures.
Mm.
So how do you treat tolerance? How do you what's it called when you put off your gratification?
Delayed gratification.
Delayed, yeah. Yeah, that's in a lot of standard psychologists, that's the most important thing that you can teach your kid. Nothing else. Delayed gratification. If they can learn that, then they're head and shoulders above everybody else already. So
Mm.
I don't know what your kid's going to do with AI, but God
Yeah,
knows.
well, that's a really that technology is fascinating. And like for me, like I was raised in technology, and for
Mm-hmm.
me to unplug myself has been my mission now. Like my last night, I spent my first night charging my phone not in my room, so I charged it in my partner's bathroom. That was big for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my kids in AI, like we're as a partnership, my partner and I, we're looking to maintain this distance from technology as a discipline because I can see what it's designed to do. Like the
Mm-hmm.
apps designed by gambling
Yep.
specialists to keep you on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention what technology can do to the eyes and the central
Yep.
nervous system and sleep and all that kind of stuff. And with AI, like I've been using ChatGPT
Mm-hmm.
and how stupid it makes me.
Yep.
Like like I'm like, look, should I sit down and think about this and draw it on a piece of paper? No, I'll ask ChatGPT. And I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, I'm getting dumber. And so in that, I've distanced myself from that habit of what can I use it? When could I use it versus what do I actually want to do right now? Instead of taking a shortcut, or do I actually need to create this piece of content right now? Can I just go for a walk?
Mm-hmm.
So that's been my journey, and hopefully, in my example, um, my son will have that foundation because I think I know in my parents there was do as I say, not as I do,
Yep.
and that frustrated the fuck out of me. I had this core injury around hypocrisy where
Mm-hmm.
I took that into school, and I went to a Christian school, and I would um, hunt the prefects and people that were out of integrity, that were hypocrisy, that would say that they're
Mm-hmm.
going to church, and they were after school, they were drinking and smoking and carrying on. I had this real thing
Mm-hmm.
in my back about hypocrisy. So now I'm like, well, now I need to be in integrity. I don't want to be that kind of dad that my dad was, or
Mm-hmm.
or mum for both of them, but a family unit. So now we need to be in integrity and practice what we preach, which including distancing ourselves from technology because I know what that can do, and knowing when to use it so it is a tool for betterment as opposed to avoiding responsibility of being human.
Oh, you got a tough. You, you got all the crack dealers in the world lining up to prove you wrong. Yeah.
Bring, bring it on.
Yeah. No, don't say that. Don't say that. You don't. It can be a very nasty place out there.
It is. It
So,
is. It is, Cray. Yeah, once that heretic part of me wants to come out and be present,
mm,
I really feel that, oh, you're upsetting my reality. You're making me feel not what I like to feel. This mediocrity that you're pointing out to me, this lower self part of me that wants to be a purist, but
mhm.
not owning the meat and bones
Yep.
primal part of me that would, given the anonymity, would fuck, kill,
Mhm.
slay, whatever it
Yep.
is that they want to get their end goal. Yeah, I feel it. Totally acknowledge it that it's there.
Hmm.
So, I love talking about solutions, but then really we're just circling the void here of owning what it means to be human. And you said at the start here that you're not human, or you're learning how to be human. So, what's that about?
So what I try to teach people is to take it out of their heads, out of their hearts, out of their stomachs, out of their groins. I tend to use 7 chakras because it's an easy map.
Yeah.
Um, and try to get them to further embody whatever it is that they're doing. And so what that means is it brings it online to other parts, other intelligences in your body. And so most of I I think I've seen things and gone to places which have skewed me enough to where I'm like 6 or 7 standard deviations out. And so I've seen a lot of things. And so I think that by that and the investigative practices that I do have have now set me up to where I have to remember how to have a normal conversation. And so for me, I have to dress up a lot. I have to put on a costume and be more human and to try to identify where my audience is and try to be within 3 standard deviations or 2 standard deviations of who and what they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, to go out and dance with the muggles is actually incredibly painful.
Mm.
So how
Yeah, no, I hear it. I hear
yeah,
the shrill screech of small talk.
yeah.
Right. So I'm hearing that you prefer silence.
Not total silence because if you make it too quiet, there's nothing to reflect back.
Right.
And that's its own particular form of lunacy.
Right.
And so for me, I like to be very clear about what kind of mirrors I have in my fun house.
Mm.
And so they're all going to be warped in some way or the other, and yeah.
Right.
I think that the human piece is a lot of times people interact with me and they assume that I'm like them.
Right.
And when they say, oh, let's go chug a beer or let's, yeah, they say, yeah, I can't. This has happened like when I'm working with a person, they're in their box, and I'm like, okay, let's go. You want to go explore the edge of your box? Okay, let's go out here. Say this. And they say, I can't say that. I'm like, excuse me? Excuse me? What you mean? It's too, you can't get your tongue around it? No, no, I can't say that sentence. And then what happens is I'm okay, repeat after me, and I'll say the words one at a time, and they will follow along and they will say each of the words in the sentence. And I'm saying, okay, now say the sentence that you just said. I can't do that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
with straight guys, tell another guy how you'd like to have sex with him. I can't say that. No, just pretend.
Mm.
It's just you're in acting school. Just pretend. No.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
Oh.
Interesting. Yeah, I hear the cage
Hmm.
and the belt that they're tied to. I'm like, just admit you want to fuck a guy in the ass. Just take it. Own it.
But it's not even that you have to find the resonance inside yourself. You
Right.
can't say the words. I'm not saying feel it. I'm just say the sentence. Mommy, I hate you. I can't say that.
Right. Wow. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, okay. I see this in my work when someone proclaims that they've done a lot of inner work,
Yep.
and then I tell them, you hate your mum or your
Hmm.
dad or your brother or you hate your child.
Hmm.
Just own that you fucking hate your child or your mum.
Hmm.
Or, no, I don't, I love them. I forgive them for what they did. You don't. You fucking don't.
Yeah.
Oh, but I moved through this. Yeah, sure. I saw in my ayahuasca journey, I had this and I forgave them. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. Yes. Even just the sentence, just even
Yep.
detaching any meaning from it and just being able to say the words, their body, you can't even.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. Interesting. Mm. Hmm. So a lot of my work came from Wilhelm Reich, Alexander Lowen, and John Parakos.
Hmm.
And the lower self work that I did involved either acting out or speaking to whatever that carnal nature was,
Hmm.
um, publicly in front of people and movements. So, like fucking pillows, fucking mattresses, fucking blocks, like
Hmm.
pretending a block was like my mum or something, and
Why
that
not
was
use people?
great question. So we would put a person in front of the block and they would be kind of receiving it. But having a person, that blows my mind. That sounds unreal. someone that would physically act that out. More because the aggression involved, you'd most likely hurt the person. So having it fucking a big foam cube for like a few minutes at a time was would be a little more comfortable than like
Mm.
pretending to fuck someone's ass,
Mhm.
or front. So in all of that journey, there was such a deconditioning of all of these masks of who I am, what I need to say, what I need to pretend to be, um, down to this raw, lower core self, and I just choose whatever masks I want to put on. It's like, cool, I need to wear this mask right now. I'm going to put it on, uh,
Mhm.
and then there's a pernicious activity there where I can get so comfortable in the mask I lose myself. So this conversation with you is invigorating for me because for me to find someone that I can talk to like this is incredibly rare. Um, yeah, that's what I want to say.
Huh.
So on your journey into discovering this part of you, um, or parts of you, what black holes has it taken you to? Like, what have you ever skirted the void so deep? It's like, what am I even here for? Like, what? Why even be human?
I that's a so there's the regular that's like free will. You have free will here. If God does exist, then theoretically it's all preordained. Okay. And you can philosophically look at that, but nobody lives up here. We live down here. And so the I reject out of hand the idea that there's an external authority figure that put me together for a purpose. And so I'm like, what do I want to do? I'm not trying to find what the external authority figure wants me to do, and I have to do some bizarre little code, whether it's prayer or ayahuasca, to find it. Like he created it and then hid it from me. What fucked up shit is this? So no, I reject out of hand, like the whole idea that there's now what's so you got to remember though that mythology, a good mythology, is based on a real human experience. So my wife Jane and I can feel the soulmate experience. I don't believe in souls. I don't, all that crap is all like it's just crap to me. But I've had the experience, which is why it's such a popular myth, because people want to have this. Now, just because I think little green men are sending me message doesn't mean that they are.
Mm.
Okay. And so you know, I don't know, why are human beings here? And it's like, how is that? What are you doing with that other than, just jerking off really hard? Anyhow. Grr.
I love
Oh.
it. So in that, like suicide, right?
Mhm.
So suicide's a theme that I see in the world,
Mhm.
and like there's a massive part of me that's like, well, why do we keep saving people that don't want to be here? Just let them go. Let them
I
choose whatever it is that they want to do. And in that, all the institutions that start around you need to save people and you need to stop them from doing whatever it is that they're doing. And for me, there's this why. Like, what you want them to live a miserable life for the rest of their lives, pretending
Yep.
that they actually want to be here? Like, what
Oh,
what
but
what
you
are
could teach them to be happy.
yeah, teaching them to be happy. It's like,
Give
okay.
them drugs. They'll be happy. They'll float on Zoloft all day long.
So yeah, totally, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's this misnomer. I don't know where it's come from. What cultures brought this on, where everybody has to survive, and if you're not helping somebody to survive, you're a bad citizen or a bad person.
Because life is holy.
Right.
And you're doing, and everybody's been to that place where they wanted to kill themselves, and thank God they didn't. So let's do the altruistic self. And I'm just like, let Darwin do its thing.
Totally. I'm similar.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think there's a purpose to evolution, and
Mm.
whatever it's mutation or whatever it is, that gene, whatever that was, it needed to go.
Yep.
Like it needed to. If you can't find a reason to be here, then okay, then bye.
Yeah. And for me, I'm like, I don't want, you never take away somebody's final solution. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I don't, and would they, should they have done something different? And could they have la, 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 la? Of course, anything's possible.
Yeah.
But there's a fundamental thing of like, I remember I was 12 or 11 and I found out that it was illegal to put certain drugs in your own body.
Mm.
And that blew my mind. And then, like 3 days later, I learned that suicide was illegal. And that blew my mind. How can it be illegal to do what I want to do with my body?
Mm.
Fine. You know, if I kill a bunch of people drunk driving, then hammer the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. But it's like, yeah, and then and then it's like you can't really save anybody. You know, in my world, now
Yeah.
you can throw them a life ring or whatever, accidents happen, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want anybody in dojo that I have to save.
Yeah.
I want people there because they want to be there. If they can't get past my persona and listen to what's actually being said, then I don't want to play with them. I don't want to engage with them because to me they're dullards. You
Mm.
know, if you can't actually look at this old guy speaking and being growly or whatever I'm doing in the moment, and you can't listen to it and say, what the hell is the science he's talking about? You know, if you can't do that, fine, I'll take your money. If you want to throw a lot of money at me and I'll sit here and listen to your stories, you know, fine. You know, if you meet my price, I'll do just about anything. You know, but if I have a choice, like dojo is, you know, $100 a month. I mean, sorry, hang.
Right.
People come, it's 2 hours, 3 times a week, and people get to practice relational skills. And it's like it's $100 for 12, well, yeah, for 12 different things. I think that's reasonable. And you can come in there and I sit in my little room and it's called Kraye's coaching. Now, there are 10 other breakout rooms and there's the main room. You can do whatever you want. But if you want coaching questions or philosophy questions about dojo, come in and visit me.
Mm.
You know, if you want to socialize with the rest of the people doing this stuff, that's fine. If you want to set up your own little experiments and your own little exercises, that's fine too. I'm here to play with people who want to be adults.
Mm.
And I'm here as in this 2 hours, I'm here as somebody who's been doing this for a long time as a coach, as somebody you can sharpen your you know yourself on. And so yeah.
Love that. Love it. When you're speaking, then what popped out to me was authority and the
uh,
need for, or the need for authority and anarchy.
yeah.
And I don't know I'd love to get your take on this. The more a person becomes themselves, the less need there is for authority.
It depends which self you're talking about. If you're talking about the character that most people believe is as I was formed when they're a single digit aged creatures. Okay. Most of that stuff revolves around external authority figures of some kind or the other. So if you're talking about owning that part of you, no, you are tied to external authority figures. Now, if you want to become somebody else, if you want to go from, you know, being an adolescent in my world to being an adult, then that's the transitional stage, is where you start letting go of external authority figures defining your reality for you.
Mm. So, in all of your wisdom, Cray,
Yeah, right. Yeah. Me and my little sewing kit here. Yeah.
or your box of band-aids.
Yeah.
Um,
Good eye. God damn. That's usually my trick.
it's either all the mother-in-law's tongues behind you.
Yeah.
Um, Now, life is perfect, yada yada yada.
It's crap.
Where, what is the fundamental, if you could summarize it, issue with humanity right now?
is that we're stuck in believing that the I is real. To me, that's back when I was, I don't know, some in high school or younger, somebody said, "You sound like you want to create the way for all humans to be." And I said, "Why wouldn't I do that? If I'm looking for how to be, why do I want it to be how I want to be? Why not create a science to where it tells humans how to be better?" And so one of the things that people are caught up in is that they believe the reality of their primal character and its culture. If you're a Palestinian and an Arab, my grandfather and whatever, and it's like, wait a minute, guys, you're not Palestinian. Okay. Palestinian is a result of being brought up in something. It's not in you, like the DNA stuff. Oh, look, I'm 60% Scottish. It's like, what craziness is that? And so the thing that, this is before, remember what I'm talking about here is before AI.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So before AI, we're stuck in believing that the I is real, that our histories are real. And that's basically it. I mean, it's like so for me, human beings don't have instincts. Okay. We have a bunch of nerve arcs. There's some pleasure principles. There's some things in there, but there's no true instincts. They're cross species that you have to fuck with extraordinarily to change. Okay. So they just don't exist. So the only way that we can make decisions is to create values. All values are learned. So if you think this is good or that's bad or whatever it is, those aren't real. They're made up. And so once you start stepping into that, then it's all of a sudden it's like, well, why do I care what your grandfather did to my grandfather? And what the hell does that have to do with anything? All of a sudden you're in the moment and you're saying all of these ways that we're out of the larger reality, we're cutting little boxes and saying this is what that is, this is what it means, this is the correct emotional response to it, and this is the correct action for that thing. Once you start stepping away from that, everything gets a lot looser. But then you have to start looking at the power pyramid. You have a bunch of adolescents or children who have, incredible amounts of power. They don't want to give them up. So yeah, anyhow.
Right.
I think the thing at the very basis, the very first bit about becoming more free and having less craziness in the world, I think, is about owning your dark side. There's a thing in dojo called Kood, know, own, out, dance. You have to know what's happening. You have to own it in as embodied way as you can. You have to out it, preferably to a knowledgeable witness, and then you have to dance with it. So if we can learn that all of these parts in us that we have been taught should be repressed, okay, or hidden or whatever, that it's okay. It's okay to have these things. It's okay to dance with them. I think that's the first thing. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that you mentioned witness. I feel that's a really important piece to be able to show another being that this is actually okay what you're doing. I see the habit of doing inner work by yourself, and then assuming that you've reached this plateau, but then you go to act it out. Right.
I mean, there are some things I say in dojo all the time. Is one, don't do it by yourself. Get a partner, get a lift buddy, get a spotter. Don't think that you can do this work yourself. I don't know what the other things are.
Great, that works. Kraye, I've loved this conversation. Is there anything else you want to say before I wrap it up?
Nope.
Great.
You're a lot. Edit this out if you want. You're a lot better than what you're advertising. To me, I'm like, oh God, I'm going to dance with a schlock salesman. Oh, for fuck's sake. I understand. You got to make a living. Okay. You've identified what your potential clients want, and you're feeding it to them. God bless you. God bless you. And now that I've seen this, there's hope for me
Uh,
that I'm like, Cynthia couldn't have worked with you if you're a schlock salesman.
I
So
love it. I'm not going to edit that out. I love it. I love it because that's I have that in me, the schlock salesman, and so for me, it's about discovering what how much can people tolerate of what I really do before they snap.
don't show them. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Don't do it.
Mm,
Don't do it. Find the thing that's getting you the coin back that you want, sell it to them, and find a different audience for the rest of you. Because from what I'm seeing here, you have the potential to take those people that are more than three standards out. And I think you have the ability to speak to them, but you're going to have to get different carriers.
yeah.
You're going to have to find a way to where your bread and butter doesn't know what what the crazy part of you is doing.
Thank you, Kraye.
So, yep.
Thank you. It's priceless. Priceless. All right.
Good
Thank you
luck.
so much.